Welcome to the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Transport Briefing for Wednesday, February 5th. Over the last 2 weeks, we've seen precipitation increase, especially really over these last several days across the northern half of the Great Basin in Idaho and Wyoming and down into northern and far western Nevada and the Sierra. We've also seen some new precipitation in northern Utah, but still southern areas of the Great Basin remain very dry over the last couple of weeks and certainly longer. This precipitation in the north is well above normal for the time of year, at least for this 2-week period. So at least we are seeing some areas now see that enhanced precipitation. Over the last 72 hours, you can see the new snowfall here on the left, showing quite a bit of new snowfall for central Idaho into Wyoming, where many mountain areas got over 2 to 3 feet in some areas. Similar conditions in the higher elevations of the Sierra, where we have seen over 2 to 3 feet of new snowfall, and also quite a bit of rainfall in parts of western Nevada and the Sierra, as well as up into some areas up north in some of those lower elevations where we did see over 2 to 4 inches of rainfall in some of these locations. The snow depth is indicated on the right, and you can see the snowpack. This does not take into account what occurred yesterday, which was quite a bit of new snowfall up in the north and west, so these numbers are bound to go up as we see the map for tomorrow. But right now, still showing normal or above normal snowpack up north, and we're starting to see that develop into Oregon and Northern California, which will likely trickle down into the Sierra as well. Still, southern areas of the Great Basin remain very dry, so obviously that snowpack is well below normal. The satellite image from this morning, we do have a storm system moving through, still some lingering clouds and showers up across parts of Idaho, Wyoming, and into northern Utah and northeast Nevada. We have seen that storm system move through the western side of the Great Basin, so skies are clearing on the west side as that precipitation pushes further east. Otherwise, we will see windy conditions with some of these areas of clouds in Nevada and Utah, and especially down into southern areas of the Great Basin. So for later today, you can see generally a westerly flow as that first system moves off to the east. We still have some systems lingering offshore, which will impact the Great Basin later this week. Otherwise, with these gusty winds in most areas, we are seeing good dispersion region-wide. And you can see on the transport winds here on the left, the strongest winds are over the eastern half of the Great Basin and in the higher elevations of the Sierra, where we are seeing those wind gusts above 40 or 50 miles per hour. But otherwise, just breezy, really in all areas, again, keeping that dispersion higher. Mixing heights remain high today. Temperatures will be generally below normal, not too far below normal on western sides of the Great Basin, a little bit above normal down in the far south as the storm system moves through. Relative humidity generally on the higher side. We are seeing some drier pockets as we see some dry air push in behind that system that moved through Nevada or western Nevada over the last 12 hours. But relatively, again, no major concerns with relative humidity. As we move into Thursday, this is where the next system already starts to push in. So we will see cloud cover increase, and those showers will be targeting yet again western and northern sides of the Great Basin. So we will see the winds temporarily decrease in the far north. So dispersion may decrease a little bit on Thursday, but should be picking up. Otherwise remains higher down south, where winds will remain on the breezy side. And you can see on Thursday, we will see some gusty winds over the southern half of the Great Basin and in the Sierra, but not quite as strong as what we'll see today. Otherwise, mixing heights remain high. Temperatures on Thursday will remain very similar to what we will see today, and then relative humidity will start to increase as that next round of moisture moves in. By Friday, that system sweeps to the east, so we will see that moving over the eastern side of the Great Basin and heading into the northern and central Rockies and the plains. Dispersion still remains good in most areas. Friday will definitely be a stronger wind day, much stronger than what we'll see today, and tomorrow we'll see more widespread wind gusts above 50 miles per hour, especially for those central areas of the Great Basin. This will be accompanied by, of course, higher mixing heights. Temperatures on Friday will start to drop a little bit as that system moves through, so still generally below normal temperatures, still relative humidity above that 25% threshold across most of the Great Basin. The 3-day precipitation is mainly what's happening. We'll have some lingering showers today, but this is really that next system moving through a Thursday, Friday, so another round of higher precipitation for the Sierra and for central and eastern Idaho and Wyoming, down into northern Utah, especially in the mountain areas. Yet again, we will see no or very little precipitation as you go further south, especially into southern areas of the Great Basin. By Saturday, we do have a system just kind of clipping by to the north, very little precipitation, mostly in the form of cloud cover. Otherwise, winds will be on the decrease. we will see drier conditions and dispersion will be heading downward. With this new snowfall, with these last couple of storms, we'll likely see inversions develop as we go through the weekend and into next week in some areas, but otherwise looking for a drier period. As we move into Tuesday, February 11th, we start to see some moisture moving into the Pacific Northwest, but it's really more towards that mid-month period that we'll start to see that moisture return to the Great Basin. So we could have a little bit more of a prolonged period of drier weather for 5 to 7 days or so before that next precipitation moves in. So precipitation for days 4 and 5, again going through the weekend, drier conditions, and then early next week, drier conditions as well. It'll probably be more towards mid to late week when we start to see some of these showers push back in from the west. And the 7-day total precip, again, most of that occurring this week in those mountain areas. The 8 to 14-day outlook taking us from February 12th through the 18th. Again, as we move towards that mid-month, February 12th time period, we will see that return of the wetter weather moving across the Great Basin. So still cool temperatures for that second and third week of February and above normal precipitation, especially for the northern half of the region. But it does look like these storms mid-month will finally start to bring some precipitation down to southern areas that's certainly desperately needed. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Friday for the latest updates.